Hi, welcome back. We're doing flipped classroom again. So today I will be beginning chapter 9, memory. The topic is memory. For those of you who were wondering if we were going to go back to this way of teaching again, we are. And basically the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to take a break about every 10 to 15 minutes so that I don't get too boring. You have a chance to stop and take a break yourselves. I am back in my son's room. I've been ostracized here by the rest of the family because they would still like to talk to one another while I'm doing my job. So that's just how it goes. All right, to start off, who you are is merely a collection of your memories. That was a quote by a very important man, me. At least I think I am, to myself. Anyway, I just came up with that. I kind of remember something like that one time from someone else, but I couldn't remember who it was, and I couldn't find it on the internet, if you can't believe that. But anyway, think about any time that you have, when you really think about who you are and what makes you tick and things that upset you and things that give you joy and things like that, it's your memories. I mean, we are so intrinsically tied to our memories. It's hard to separate who we are from just memories. So just keep that in mind when you're talking about basically when we get to personality. All right, let's move on. We're going to define some terms now. First of all, memory. What is it? It is the persistence of learning over time via the storage and retrieval of information. So it's being able to keep that learning, whatever you learned, keep it, store it, and then bring it back out when you need it. Flashbulb memory. This is a clear memory of an emotionally significant moment or event. We all have these. And probably, what's a good example here? My sheet says here, I put the San Francisco earthquake in 1989, when people remember where they were with the San Francisco earthquake. Or it could be really anything. It could be, my generation tends to remember where they were when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded back in the 80s. It just was probably the first big significant event. As well as probably where we were on 9/11 when we heard that the towers collapsed. My mother's generation remembers where she was when Kennedy was shot, President Kennedy, and where Martin Luther King was when he was shot. Those were very traumatic events for her. So that's flashbulb memory. Processing. We process very similar to a computer. Okay. To make it simple, we write to a file, we save to disk, and we read from a disk. To make a very I guess a much more complicated process, sort of introductory, that's what we got going on there. All right, encoding, the process of information going into the memory system. I should have missed a word there, but that's okay. Maybe that'll be significant, so you'll remember what encoding means. Memory. I'm always trying something different. I don't know. So it's getting stuff into your brain. You have to encode it. Very important step. If you don't encode, it's hard to recall stuff. Okay. Storage, the retention of encoded information over time. So that is, once you get it encoded, it's up here in your head and it's staying there. Okay. The reason we know that the only reason we know that stuff is stored is obviously because when asked about someone's name or what you did yesterday or something, you can regurgitate what you did. For the most part, the important events. A lot of storage discoveries have come, unfortunately, through brain damage situations where when we learn a lot when people come in having hit their heads very hard and part of their brain is destroyed. That tends to be how we started sort of figuring out where certain things were or were not stored, and we'll get more into that later. And then, of course, retrieval, the process of getting information out. So it's like, as I said, I think I briefly said it in class, I don't know why this sticks in my mind, but those Coca-Cola machines that are sort of the new ones with the clear glass, you know, that you can see into. And for some reason, somebody tried to make what was a very simple process of gravity pulling the Coke down and depositing it in a little tray for you to take out of the machine. They wanted you to be able to see an arm go back in and grab it, grab the Coke and bring it out, and they bring it over to a side area, and it goes down and it comes out into a little dispenser. That arm action is what I think of as far as retrieval. That's what you're doing. It's like a super hyper, hard to even fathom how fast, you know, Rolodex, fingers going back and, you know, names and where I was and what do I want to eat, what did I eat yesterday, and, you know, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's my little analogy there. Short-term memory. Activated memory that holds a few items briefly in your brain. Okay. Example: the 7 digits of a phone number while dialing before the information is stored or forgotten. That is your short-term memory. Doesn't mean you're going to remember it. Short-term memory is sort of, I guess you could say the way I compare it is, it's very similar to RAM of a machine, of a computer. It's going to hold information while you're using it. Now, we can't hold as much as, for instance, as a computer can. We've got about about 7 digits, or about 7 items plus or minus 2, which we'll get into later. But when you turn the computer off, the computer doesn't remember from one usage to the next what it was doing, or a program. Okay, so we're not going to remember that phone number. We're just remembering it long enough to dial it, and then it's not in our mind forever. Long-term memory, the relatively permanent and limitless storehouse of the memory system. So it is where you store those things that have become significant enough to you to lay down a very heavy track of I don't know what the right word is, not track, but you lay down some type of emotion with the memory so that it sticks. Okay, it's sticking for long-term purposes. Let's see. As far as we know, no one's head is exploded. No one fills up. That's the nifty thing with long-term memory. Even people who are 102 years old, they can keep learning. If you stay alive. Maybe one day someone will come with a discovery that says we can only hold so many bits of information, but right now it appears to be limitless. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, we'll go one more slide here. Let's see if I can. All right, so first thing we're going to talk about is encoding, getting the information in. First, you have your sensory memory, okay? You have immediate initial recording of sensory information in the memory system. We have, for sensory information, we take in so much information at once, just being alive, and that's why it's called sensory memory. We're sensing everything. A lot of this, it's like a very wide net, and very little of it is remembered at all. So right now, I am sensing where the room I'm in. I know that there are what you can't see in front of me here behind the computer right there, okay, are stickers. My son has Florida State stickers all over the wall. So I sense the stickers, but I couldn't remember. I wouldn't even know what they all were unless I made a point of remembering them. I sense that there are walls. I sense the air temperature. It's kind of chilly. All kinds of stuff. I sense that there's nobody else in the room. Those type of things are what we're talking about with sensory memory, and it's all coming in at once, okay? And it's quickly determined by your brain as to what's important and what's not. That filtering system is in your brain that is very quickly going, not important, not important, not important, this is important, and of course I'm sensing what I'm trying to do, and the computer, and it's helping me stay focused on what I'm looking at. All right, now, then you have working memory. This is a concept of memory similar to short-term memory, but focusing more on the processing of briefly stored information. That was my phone. By the way, for those of you, I got my new phone. It is the iPhone 6. Pretty cool. Pretty Cool. All right. Working memory. I'm going to stop here and come back to working memory on the next one. Ooh, maybe not.